See, and now looking back, so I bought those 2 lightweight setups last year, and I do like them. To be honest with you, they're not that comfortable. Like the platform is almost, you pretty much have to stand the whole time.
Yeah,
it's
kind of like this.
Yeah, it's so small.
Like an all-day sit would be a struggle.
So I did multiple of them last year, and it was rough.
You did or ask me about that. You were concerned about all-day sits too.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I was. I didn't know if the bottom of that saddle was going to wind up digging in.
Right.
Making your legs fall asleep while you were up there. And I did several all-day sits last year, and I had never had an issue.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'd turn and move and kind of keep the knees off the tree when I needed to, or give the arch of my foot a break from kind of sitting on the edge of that platform. But I mean, it's like you're in a stand too, like a regular one, where you have that mobility to move.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're in a pretty similar position for an all-day sit for 8 hours. Like you're gonna be a little sore in spots.
Yeah.
Like when I do eight hours in a chair, I'm mad.
I'm miserable in the stands that I have.
Are you?
So, and they're nice. They're great stands. I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but they're rough to do an all-day sit.
Really?
I mean, they're tiny.
They're not meant for comfort.
No,
they're
meant for mobility.
Yeah, they're meant for being lightweight. But looking back at it, like I just was kind of bitching about how expensive they are. I bought these 2 stands last year, and I got the one a 30% discount. It was regular $900 for the full setup because my buddy was like sponsored by them. And
that's about what a saddle setup costs.
Yeah. So I got that one for around $7, I think, and the other one was $550. So I'm $1,300, and it's man, I should have just bought a saddle. Yeah, I should have just bought a saddle setup.
Mine's comfortable enough that on my second or third all-day sit, I was getting kind of tired, and I actually caught myself drifting off.
Yeah,
because I would just put my arms up on my tether, and just kind of lay my head and listen to the wind and the squirrels, and I kind of felt myself doing that. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I need to sit back up.
That was my biggest problem with the climber. I would take naps.
Oh, I would.
I would put my knees up against that gun rest, and I would lean back.
I even prop my feet up on top of it.
Oh yeah, so I put my foot up on the shooting bar.
That's that safety harness with that strap on the back. I would put that as high as I could and sit down and then lean forward.
No, it's just dangle.
Do you remember this? Don't try this at home. But when we were young, before we had the 5-point harness, we would take our deer drag ropes, our bakery straps, and if we started getting tired, we'd tie them around the tree in our chest and sit down in our hanging stands and just be there like this. Oh, looking back on that, we were 10, 11, 12 years old, 13.
That's what you had, though.
Super sketchy.
Yeah. The first straps that I ever used, when my dad started making me wear them, pretty much right when I pretty much didn't have a choice. Whenever I first started hunting, I wore them. But it was like this 5-inch wide
belly band.
And it had a hook on the back, and then you hooked it to the tree, and it was just a big belly band. It was like a giant belt. And that's when I started hunting. That's what I wore.
Yeah,
it wasn't nothing like they are now.
No,
kind of touching about safety too. I've using the ladders or the screw and pegs getting into a hanging stand. I've never felt super safe. Granted, I've never been using a lifeline to do it, but I've never felt super safe, and that's actually how I fell out of my tree stand once. I was checking stands. I got to the top of my ladder. Hadn't been in it since the close of season. It's now end of July-ish.
6-7 months later.
Yeah, and I'm climbing up this ladder, checking the straps as I go. I get to the top of this 20-foot ladder, and as soon as I grab and go to look over at the strap to see what kind of condition the strap is in, it snaps, and I go straight back off the tree. That sucked.
That's one of the things that I like about it, is that you're never not attached to the tree.
Always connected, and I've never not felt safe in it.
My first year,
because you just use like a lineman's rope as you're going up, right? And so you're always,
and you never just connect one until the other one's connected, whether you're coming in or out.
So I used to have a 5-step aider. I still have it, but I don't use it anymore. My first year, I was like, well, I don't want to carry in all these sticks for early season. I'll do 2 sticks with a 5-step aider. I was coming down the end of a sit. It was like the first week of October. I'm still new, not exactly knowing where to position my boot and the aider against the tree. I'm probably 12 feet up coming down, and my aider slips, and I go completely sideways but I just went sideways and then bounced right back because I had my lineman's belt on.
Yeah.
And I wasn't hurt. I was scared.
Yeah,
I was
scared.
shaking
Oh, yeah.
because I thought I was going down.
Big pucker moment.
Yeah, but I didn't fall like you did
Yeah.
because that lineman's belt.
And I got lucky when I fell. I mean, that's how
Yeah, I don't think I knew.
lots
you
of hunters die every year is falling from their tree stands, and I got
Yeah.
really lucky. I
You
remember
break your back and you're never hunting again, anyways.
Oh yeah, exactly. I remember coming off of as soon as that thing snapped, the oh shit thought goes through your head. So I tried to scurry down as fast as I could to get down to that lower strap, and it was too
Yeah.
late. I made it like a step and a half, and I'm already back at a 45. So I'm like, okay, the ladder's coming. I don't want that to hit me after I land, so I actually kick off of the tree. I remember looking up at the sky, and then I swear God turned me, because next thing I know, I'm looking down at the ground, and I didn't do it. But as soon as I hit, I kind of curled up into this ball, and when I hit, I
Waiting
just,
for the ladder to hit you.
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hit, I just sprawled out, and it actually maybe absorbed some of that impact. I walked away with a bruised rib and a bruised knee, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, you
got
were
real
lucky. I think
Yeah,
Dad
you
was
got
up
lucky.
there going through his daily stuff. He looked down and he went,
Nope.
idiot. Just kept on going.
Go get your harness, dummy.
I think the one reason why I don't think I would use one, I'm not against them. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're cool. But me and Dad put so much work into the property,
With
cutting trails and
preset
everything.
That thing is
Yeah.
groomed.
Yeah.
It's groomed for ladder stands. It's
Yeah.
groomed for
Yeah.
setups.
Yeah.
It's not groomed for mobile hunting.
Which-
You could, like, don't get me wrong, you could mobile hunt the hell out of that place.
Yeah.
Because I know there's spots, there's deer moving we don't have stands in.
But you also want them to have their hiding holes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we stay out of
Yeah.
pretty much the whole front side of the swamp. Like,
Yeah.
we don't touch that. And yeah, it's just ours is set up for this is where the stand's going to be. We're going to make the deer come here.
Yeah.
And whether it's cutting trails or, maybe doing some hinge cutting, removing trees, something like that, we're going to get the deer to come to where we want them to come.
Which, in a situation like that, like when Casey and I wind up getting property, we're not going to saddle hunt that spot. Like,
Yeah.
like we're going to have 2 or 3 set stands. And if there's a shift in a deer pattern, then we're going to grab our
Right,
saddles. But it's going to be
Move
set up just
accordingly.
like that because you put in the work to where that mobile hunting style doesn't really apply.
Yeah. Now, if we had, some reason Dad goes out tomorrow and he buys a 100-acre patch of woods. And he's like, we're hunting here this year. Okay, now it's a different,
I
ball
was
game.
gonna say, I
now
think,
you're gonna
I
have
know
to do
what
some
my
walking.
backup saddle would do
Yeah.
for a while.
Yep.
Now, that's a whole different. But we have this is the
They're even
11th season there, so we have a ton of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know where they're going, where they're gonna end up, where they're coming from 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I think they're even good just for observation. That's why I never set a permanent stand at the place I shot my buck last year. I did all hanging hunts the whole year, but I didn't know the property. It was the first year I hunted it. I didn't really know where to put a permanent stand at for one.
Yeah.
So I would go in and do hanging hunts
Yeah.
and just kind of learn. Okay,
Observations.
80 yards away is where all the deer were.
Yeah.
And then maybe the next time I would just move to a whole different area because it was a pretty big farm.
Yeah.
So they're really good for observation too. You don't have to carry a stand in there and hang it and hope it's in the right spot.
Yeah, you're in and out. And,
Yeah,
and on that note, because you were able to take everything down,
Yeah.
like when you're not there, deer aren't picking out your
Right.
tree stand,
Right.
especially when the leaves are down and it's January and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a stand there.
That doesn't look
No.
right.
Yeah.
That's
But-
we don't leave our stands up year round just because of what happened with you. We want
Right.
to make sure.
Yeah.
And the one thing we actually do instead of putting a strap around the top, we use chain binder
Yeah.
and chain. But we know that's not
that's
not
that's
gonna
not
go
going
anywhere.
anywhere.
If you're snapping
Yeah.
chain binders,
I learned a lot
You're
that
too
day.
you're too scared to be up there if you're snapping chains.
And I,
You were doing pull-ups.
Right.
It was like the whole Vietnam flashbacks. I recovered, jumped up, found I'm okay. Dad saw the whole thing, which I think that was worse for him than it was for me watching your kid fall.
Yeah.
But kind of got my mind back into it. Went back, got my harness because that was my thought climbing up the ladder was, oh shoot, I forgot to put my harness on. I'll do this one. I'll jump on the
Oh,
quad and I'll
this
go
the
get it.
safety measure.
Oh yeah.
You don't think about it though with the ladder stand, really?
No.
I've never.
And like
I've
I
never
said,
put 'em
I've
on.
never used a lifeline before,
Yeah.
so I always hooked in once I was up in the hanging stand.
Right.
Yeah.
And that first climb up.
You probably don't do that anymore.
First of the season, no. I'm strapped from like the moment my hands touch that tree, I'm strapped. Because my son was just born a couple months before that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my thoughts falling too.
Oh yeah.
And my first climb up in my stand that was probably opening day was, dude, it was Vietnam flashbacks. Like, I got halfway up that ladder and I stopped. I went, okay, this is not going to happen again. Get your butt up in that stand, because the way it was. That was very uncomfortable for the first week or two.
Nerve-wracking.
I'll believe it.
Yeah.
I think hard time trusting that again.
Oh, yeah.
I think another big advantage of the saddles would be, like, I had a tree last year, this pin oak tree, tiny little tree, but great cover.
Yeah.
Branches everywhere.
Yep.
And I was like,
Sounds like a pin oak.
Yeah. If I had a saddle, I could get into that tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I could climb that no problem.
Yeah.
But I couldn't with that stand because there'd be nowhere to actually hang the tree stand. Saddle, you could have just climbed right up it.
Dad shot a really nice 8-point on public land two years ago.
Yeah.
And
we weren't even at camp yet.
Yeah, we were
BS.
driving up, and he was in a cedar.
Yeah.
And
cedar or pine.
And there was no way that a climber would have done it.
Oh,
and,
no.
and when we went out there and helped him drag the deer out, we looked at his setup. It was just a mecca of cover around him, and there he was, just saddling away. And
Perfect little cove.
Like, you could not pick the better spot.
No. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. That's another reason why I'd like to do it. I think you could get in a lot. I can get in a lot of trees with what I have, but not. I'm big on cover now. I kind of learned that in the last few years as I've
gotten
became a better
over.
hunter.
I'm not so much as picky about height now. I would rather have better cover than height.
Yeah.
I agree with
I had a couple hunts last year where, man, how's your ceiling? 9 foot?
I got to stand at that down at my spot in the swamp in the corner. That stands 10 foot.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
It's the woods are so young down there. The trees are all small. There's only a couple trees you can get a stand in, but they're like kind of out in the middle of everything. So I tuck something way back on the brush. I'm like there's a dead ash tree behind me and one pine, and the rest of it's just all this shrub brush, and I'm right in the center of it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think cover is probably the most important thing, no matter how you're hunting. I really do.
And that's kind of the other nice thing about the saddle is when you're in a climber, you've got to find that perfect tree size.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be about at least for my climber, at least the size of a basketball, but no bigger than 24 inches across or whatever.
Yeah, you're stuck to this limitation.
Yeah.
Saddle,
with a perfect tree like that one's gonna be perfect. It's just a touch too big.
Yeah. As long as your lineman fits around it, you climb it. If it's that big, you can climb it. You're going to be waving in a little breeze, but you can climb it.
There was once I did that. I was like,
I saw you in that tree, and I went, "Oh man, yeah."
It was literally leaning over.
They'll never know.
I saw a buck. I didn't shoot him. I don't think I could have.
He might have saw you
I
too.
saw him.
Look at that dumbass up in that tree up there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make the jump, though.
I would highly.
I want to test them out first, but I think I'm going to make the jump.
Yeah.
I just think they're so much more versatile than
They are.
To me, they look cumbersome, but I'm used to just like, all right, I'm going to go up there right now.
Yeah.
No work involved. I just climb a ladder and I sit down.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, it's like, it's too much time wasted.
So when we were
Dane hunts a lot different than you, though, too.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
like,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like you said, you have property where you know where these deer are.
Yeah.
So, in all honesty, it probably wouldn't.
Like, see, to him, hanging a ladder stand, he's like, this is the worst idea in the world. Like, who the hell wants to do that? And then to me, I'm like, who wants to just hang from a tree like a nut? Dude, that's stupid.
Yep.
They both have their place.
Yeah.
They do. Like behind my house. Behind my house. I'd never take a saddle by my house. I got a ladder stand back there.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you have the property and you can make the deer do what you want, like, you don't need one. But like I said, like, you know, you come across a new piece like you did when you shot your buck. A saddle would have came in great.
Oh, yeah. I wish I had a saddle last year.
Or even
really
if
do.
you've got that property where you have it, if it's big enough to have 10 or 12 preset stands where you know that these are the spots to go, and it's just not working, or you want to go to this side, but none of the wind is working out right.
Yeah.
If you
That's
if you've
it
only
too.
got
That
3 or
weird
4.
wind that gets you.
Oh yeah. If
Or
you're
you-
limited on the number of stands you have, but you know I'm going to grab my saddle, I'm going to go to this ridge top right here because it's going to be great with this wind. It's the one wind we get out of one day a year.
Yeah.
It's going to suck, but today's my day to hunt.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
And on that, like a saddle, like to be set up in a saddle, platform, sticks, and everything, you're probably looking close to $1,000 at this point.
Yeah.
What's a hang-on stand cost now?
They're $400 a piece.
So
Yeah,
Plus
so
sticks.
like
you can get them like 250. I mean, for the good ones, you
Like a
can go.
climber or like
if you're
a
getting
Hang on.
if you're
Really,
getting
they're
them,
that much now.
if you're
I
getting
think.
a mobile
the
setup,
last one I bought
absolutely.
was-
If you're just getting like, yeah, this is the one I'm going to hang in August, and I'm going to take it down in January type deal.
Yeah.
You can get those ones. I've seen them for like 100, like the cheaper end ones, like
Yeah,
what,
like
I
the
think
River's
the
Edge or
last
something.
Yeah,
stand I bought
Sportsman's
was
Guide.
$80. I've never bought a climber. Dad bought us the Field and the Streams when they were like 13.
I have
14.
two sitting over there actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had a Summit.
I haven't touched them since
I liked
2020. So let's say you have a 12-acre chunk of woods, and you have $1,000 to put towards tree stands. That's going to limit you to 4 tree
Four
stands.
hang-ons, maybe five good ladders.
Let's bend
Yeah,
it.
because you got to figure in the ladder cost.
Yeah. So let's just say 5. If you buy a saddle setup, there's not a tree in there, lineman belt pending, that you can't get up
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the same price.
Yeah.
And then the whole woods is your option.
Yeah, you're not limited to 4
It's
trees. You've got 4,000 to pick from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to just make the jump. Sell my other ones and buy one.
Kyle just told us about his jump. He didn't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a fall. That was a fall.
The fall didn't hurt. The landing did.
yeah, land. Yeah, that.
You got so lucky.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I mean, every single year you hear about guys falling out of the tree stands, dying, breaking their backs, breaking their necks,
Yeah, paralyzed.
destroying their legs.
Yeah.
And to be able to walk away with a bruised rib and a kind of an ouchy bruised knee.
Yeah.
Out of from 20 feet.
And
oh man,
I was a paramedic in that area for a long time. I wouldn't trust those people helping me. You got real lucky.
that was divine intervention. It really was.
Just some backwoods paramedic. Like, does it hurt when I do this? Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that does look like it hurts.
That happened to Billy Bob just the other day. How you doing?